His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of our dear state, Professor Placid Njoko, to make some remarks. His Excellency, we welcome you, sir.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I don't want us to waste time on due protocols. People have been introduced and they have been introduced. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I think that will do it. I think we're here for very serious business. And I was very privileged and really happy that I met the presentation by our very renowned Professor Maurice Iwu. Maurice Iwu has gone full circle, and he's a man that Imo State is very proud of. Anything he touches with deftness. Anything he touches, he transforms it to the best you can have. And so he's a man that we have immense respect for. The subject we are discussing is OKOBI, one kindred, one business initiative. And like Prof traced backwards, there are lots of things that we've done in Igbo land that in fact emanated from this very basic concept. We did them without knowing it, but that was the essence of it. And so what the Office of the Chief Economic Advisor is doing, like Prof said, is taking us back to our roots to show the strength of the Igbo man. Recall that a lot of us went to schools that were not government schools. In our time, it was the mission schools that were the more attractive schools. Your parents were very happy to send you to these religious schools with religious backgrounds and so on. And in fact, it was when the government took over these schools that they seem to have messed up education in our land. And so the original schools that were established by these religious bodies in our communities came from a decision by the community that they wanted to pool their resources together and bring educational development to the community. That is the essential thing. So the concepts here are that you as a community are taking a specific decision to go into development of a structure. It could be an industrial structure. It could be an educational structure. Like Prof said, something as big as the airport was done with collective interests. So once your community, once your kindred comes to realize the need to actually work together to achieve this development, and you review your areas of strength, areas where you have some expertise or you can build expertise or your environment is right for it. Because talking about fear, I know there is one female religious group, Catholic religious group, that the only thing they eat is fear. Fear is in every one of their convents, they eat fear. And it's only today that I know why they eat fear. So when I leave here, I'm going to call their Mother General and say, now I know why you guys eat fear. Thanks to you, Prof. I've had privileges in my life, and I have traveled. And I thought I should just share with you some experiences I've had with this one product, one business initiative. If you go to China and you're looking for something like silk, you go to specific regions of China where the only thing they produce is what? silk. If you go the area, the Yangtze River zone, and particularly in areas like Suzhou, and in fact, when I traveled, I went to Suzhou. Suzhou was the main place where I stayed. They have a sericulture business in the area. If you go to the community that produces silk, the silk that we see every year, we think that is very, very expensive material. You see them grow worms. They grow these worms, and these worms produce the silk, and then they pull the silk into products. I went there just to make you people get hungry about it. The silk ties that most young men wear, well, people don't wear ties anymore. But at least there are some bankers here who still wear ties. And there are, of course, security men here who wear ties. They are the ones who now wear ties. All these commissioners, none of them wears the tie anymore. But basically, at the time when we were growing up, the issue of wearing a suit and a tie was manifest, was what people were known for it. And I went to this place and I bought ties. I bought over 200 ties. I didn't pay more than 200. I didn't pay more than 2,000 naira for them. 200 ties for 2,000 naira. So when I came back to Nigeria, if you look at me very well, I call you and give you 2 ties. If I go and you blink your eye at me and say, oh, come, I give you 3 ties. I was dashing it out because I had them. Those same ties, if you go to UK, say you stop at the airport at Heathrow, and you go to some of the special tie shops there, the exact ties that I was giving out for almost nothing, each of them will cost nothing less than 40 pounds. If you go to Grotto, New York, and you see those ties there, none of them will cost anything less than $60. But I literally got them for about, 20 naira each. So what has happened in Suzhou and in this Yangtze River zone is that there are specific communities that have committed themselves to producing these worms and producing silk from them, which they now pull into products. And so if you want silk from China, they will tell you, go to this community. Because I was based in Suzhou, I got to know that, pearls. When you are traveling, your family tells you, we want you to buy this, buy this. One of the things that they never asked me to buy, which I thought was even more useful to buy for them, was pearls. Pearls, these things they put, not beads exactly, but pearls, the very expensive ones. I got there and I saw a community. In fact, we were driving around and I saw a lot of fish ponds. A lot of fish ponds. Or ponds that look like fish ponds. So I was asking, it means that these people here produce a lot of fish. And I was thinking about how we could bring people or the technology to produce fish from aquaculture. So I thought this was an excellent place to learn that concept. And when we stopped at one of the major markets, we stopped at a place that had a building. It was just a building for selling pearls. That mall had about 1,000 shops. 1,000 shops. And every one of those shops was occupied. And they were selling nothing else other than pearls. And I started asking, where did they get this pearl? They said, from those ponds. So instead of fish, they produce oysters. Oysters that produce the pearls. So that entire zone all they produce are these pearls. They're not interested in your fish, they're not interested in the pearls. And how much is one good quality pearl? There are some pearls that will cost up to $300, one piece. Of course, there are others, different qualities. But a standard ton of pearls will not cost anything less than $1,500. And so what happens? This will produce so much of it, and tourists come and they buy and they buy and they buy. That day I spent good money there, because I knew that if I had bought the ones that were made and I bought the ones that had not been formed into specific products and I brought them back, all they do is they clean them and you can buy them as a bunch. But what is critical in these exercises is that they have a structure in place to galvanize the interests of their people and ensure that that interest is protected, that interest is developed. Come back to Nigeria. When I had the privilege of being a vice chancellor, we facilitated a community in Abia State to produce yam seedlings. Yam seedlings. The Umudike Research Institute had perfected the mini-set, yam mini-set technology. And so what we did was introduce it to a community in Isochi. And we told the community, we will support you to produce this. And this community took on this yam mini-set. And they were producing these seed yams. After 2 years of going back, supporting them and going back, and I went to review the project myself, some individuals had as much as 35,000 seed yams on bands. And so that community got known in the zone as a community for seed yams. So if you're looking for seed yams, they tell you to go to that community in Isochi. As I left the place, of course, I don't know what has happened, but it was a very, very vibrant body at the time. And they were so well organized. And of course, the university had an extension system that ensured that they progressed. Those are the classical examples that I'm personally associated with, apart from the other ones that we've holistically been involved in funding and so on. But I think that for all of us here, you know, Igbo land has a very basic problem, which we must call attention to. There's hardly any business in Igbo land, except for the one that Professor Iwu is involved in, and I don't know what he's seeing in it, because I think he has Igbos in it and he has people from other areas in it. But there are hardly any successful businesses in Igbo land where you have two Igbo men partnering. And that's a very major problem. Problem of trust. Whether we trust ourselves to go into partnerships. The cooperative society system was very successful in the eastern region during Professor Martin Ijere's time. Professor Martin Ijere did a lot in eastern Nigeria to promote that process. But after some time, the system waned. Why is that so? I think what OKOBI wants to do to us is to re-emphasize the strength of the Igbo man and to ensure that we can actually work together. If we have a group, if we can form a formal group that will be very closely monitored and will essentially ensure that Whatever project we adopt is monitored from the beginning. It's nurtured, monitored until it reaches full development. So, an extension, a very strong extension system is very important. And my recommendation to the Chief Economic Advisor and his team is that at the beginning of these programs in each case, it will be important for you to have some hand-holding system that will enable people to go from start to a point of establishment when you may now relax and they can take over because the project is actually their own. But you must support them from the time they exhibit an interest, that this is where they want to go. You must show them, because our people, number one, are not patient. Two, they want their money back today, not tomorrow. And so what we need to do is to handhold them so that at each stage of the handholding, they can see some progress that is being made. Once they see that progress is being made, they will follow you. But if they start it and someday they hold a meeting, instead of 15 people, only 5 people attend. The next time that meeting is going to hold, only 3 people will attend. The next time, nobody may attend. So it's important, this hand-holding structure is very important to be able to nurture these projects from start to a point of takeoff. Second point I would like to also indicate is that marketing. When these products are produced, what happens to them? Take, for example, a group that does poultry. You raise broilers for 8 weeks or 6 weeks and they're ready to go. And you don't sell them. Just like the Zobo situation that Prof referred to. You can't sell them. You can't sell your poultry, your birds. What happens to you? The more you feed those birds after they are ready to go, the less your profit will be. In fact, what will happen is that if you keep them for up to 2 weeks longer than you expected, you would have wiped out your profit. So it's important, therefore, to have a marketing system. All the successful groups that we've mentioned in China and so on had very strong associations, marketing associations, and established offices in major cities in New York, in London, and so on. So for our OKOBI system, we must have a structure for marketing. It is very, very critical. It's in fact existentially critical. Finally, I'd like to say that we must regard OKOBI as an investment. Investment. Those who are going to get involved in OKOBI must know that even the time they go for meetings is a form of investment. That the money you pay as part of your dues or something to the group is an investment. That those who are going to support you from outside, your brothers in diaspora who are going to come in and bring money into this project, it's an investment for them. So everybody associated with OKOBI must see it as an investment. And if you see it as an investment, you know that you have to nurture it. You know there must be a period you can wait, you will have to wait for the investment to mature and to produce fruit. This OKOBI project of the Office of the Chief Economic Advisor is probably one business deal that if we can effectively do it, when Governor Opuzodinma talks about prosperity government, that is one sure way to actually achieve it. And it is not prosperity where somebody gives you money. It's prosperity where you generate the money, where you make the money from your own effort. And when you do that, the Igbo man is prouder that he's able to do this for himself and that he succeeded. We all know that somebody dashes your money tomorrow, in the next 2 weeks, somebody asks about it, that money will be gone. But when you make the money yourself, you have value for it. Our people have a saying, Onye kpo jia, jia yerure ya jia. Onye kpo jia nwa jia, ye megeni yerure ya nwa jia. So let us see this as an investment. Let us see this as some way to prosper ourselves first, our communities, and our state, and our country. That this project is a critical one, and that there are essential things that we must do to ensure that we can go from start to establishment. Thank you very much indeed. God bless you all.
Please, another round of applause for his deputy.